In this fourth part of the Simulink tutorial, I'd like to show some features that are useful when you're preparing reports. What you find sometimes when you prepare data to plot in reports using results from MATLAB and Simulink is that the plots that you get don't have adequate font size or line width in order to be clearly readable. So when you prepare a report using this type of data, I would like to give you some recommendations of what you might want to do. So let's say I wanted to plot the data from this figure. What I would do is I would go in File, then Save As, and then choose one of the formats that are here, not these. These formats, you have a bunch of formats here, and I encourage you to look at the formats that give you the nicest picture in whatever text processor you use. So for example, I personally like to use the TIFF format when using Word documents. Before you do that though, you may want to go and in the figure and look at the preferences and the file heading, and specifically look at the figure copy template. So what you have here, you have in fact some options that MATLAB already gives you for settings for Word or PowerPoint, and which you can decide to follow or not. So if I go back here, what I would suggest is to change the font size to 14. So 16 may be a little big, and to change the line width to 2 points. Then click on Apply the figure. Okay, I'll go back to the figure here, and you see it looks like the lines and the fonts are a little thick here, but that's good because when you save the figure, you will find that actually they are better sized to be put in a report, because what will happen in a report is that you will shrink those figures quite a bit in order to fit them into your report, and what would happen is if you didn't resize them, they would be too small. So I'm going to save it as fig1.tiff, and that's actually okay. So then I have to go back and look into the demo directory, and here is my figure1.tiff, and you see that if I was to shrink this figure, with the typical size of a paper might actually come out to be this, and then the fonts and the lines are still visible, and so it helps to take care of that issue in advance. So anyway, you may be good to play with these different file formats and different figure types to get the best results in your report. You may also want to get a copy of your block diagrams to put in your reports. I would encourage you to make it look good and try maybe to compress the diagram so that you can have the largest size for a given page width. So here are some things you might do here to make it more compact. And then what you can do to produce a file is to type this command here, this command, which I'm going to copy. Okay, here. Okay, so that's kind of a cryptic command, but it will do the job. This will allow you to copy the picture of this block diagram here, which is DCMPI, and it's going to put it in a figure that will be named DCMPI.tiff. So I click it, and then if I go back to the demo, you see that I created the DCMPI.tiff, and here is my figure. You see it's a pretty nice figure of the block diagram that I can then insert in the paper. Now it may be that after scaling this diagram you have the same issue that you have in the figure, that the fonts are too small. What you can then do is highlight the whole block diagram, and at once you can format the fonts and you can raise it. So if you want, you can go from 10 to 11, and this will raise all the fonts to be bigger. In some cases you may need to change back a few things, like re-increase the size here so that you can see the value of the gain, and this will allow you to have a more readable diagram in the end in your report.